All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video review for the premiere episode of the new Amazon series, Utopia. Okay, so this is a new Amazon Prime series which hit in September. It was released September 24th, and the first season has 8 episodes. I don't know if they're going to be doing a second season run for the series, or if it's just a one-shot kind of deal for the first season. I guess time will tell. I also have not seen the first season all the way through yet to the final episode. It's always weird with reviewing streaming series because if people like it, they're going to tend to watch all the way through the first season right away. So if anyone's seen this series, it's very likely that they've probably seen the first season almost all the way through now, or at least seen the first few episodes. So this will be a review for the premiere episode, which is called Life Begins, which is Utopia, Season 1, Episode 1, so the premiere episode. So there aren't too many series on Amazon Prime Video. If you have an Amazon subscription or an Amazon Prime, basically you can watch their Prime Video as included with that, so for free if you already pay for it. And that gives you the deal with shipping and whatnot is a better price if you're an Amazon Prime member. So you can watch this show right now streaming Amazon Prime Video. You can also sign up for a trial for that if you don't have it, and check it out. Another show on the network is The Boys, which is also really good and has gotten a lot of critical acclaim. I think it's currently second season, but they're doing a third season for The Boys. So a number of people recommended this series to me for Utopia in that they know I love conspiracy stuff, and they know I have a little bit of a different mindset about the way the world works than most people probably do. So this series is very cool. It's created by the lady who did Gone Girl. So if you guys have seen Gone Girl, the movie, which is a great movie by the way, then it is by by Gillian Flynn, the creator, who did that as well. And I think this series is profound, I think. But you have to understand it's I almost want to say it's kind of a more advanced type of series with regards to conspiracy topics. You have to understand a little bit more about them than just the average profane person. If you don't, then they might not make hardly any sense to you. But basically, here's the premise of the series. There is a comic book. So you guys are a comic book fan, right? Those of us who love comic books. And there is a comic book in this universe called Utopia, and it is the sequel to a comic book called Dystopia. So the idea of a dystopian kind of future, dystopian reality, this would be a utopian type of reality. So you go from dystopian to utopian. So with Utopia, it's basically a comic book that is found. So the description for the first episode reads, "Life begins. When an elusive comic appears, a group of fans cannot wait to get their hands on it and unknowingly put themselves in mortal danger." So this is where the people who are familiar with conspiracy topics and alternative research will really enjoy this. So basically what Utopia is it's a comic book sequel to Dystopia, which has predictive programming elements in it. So it is a comic book that is sort of an underground, independent type of comic. And over time, people have found that the series has events that are about to happen in the future, say it releases of global pandemic viruses or things of this nature, are predictively programmed into, or they are put into Utopia, the comic. And so some of the people that are, let's say, more advanced are going to be able to go ahead and look at that and try to dissect the meaning of the comic down and maybe see future events from that in real life. Now, we actually do this. This is known as predictive programming in kind of the conspiracy spaces, and it is the concept that in fiction there are elements sometimes put in intentionally for future events that will take place in real life. Now, if you don't understand that we have this cult that runs the world and can actually kind of manage the future, then then you won't really get too far with this, because then you'll say, well, that's impossible, yada, yada, whatever. So a good example would be Madonna last year in 2019 putting a Corona typewriter on the back of her Madam X album, and then obviously, later near the end of the year in early 2020, you see a coronavirus. So then the question becomes, why did she put a Corona typewriter on the back of her album? And is that just a coincidence, or is it not? So in this universe with Utopia, you have a comic which is released that has a reputation of being able to predict future events in it. So if people get their hands on it, basically they'll be able to tell what's going to happen in the future. Now, I don't know in this TV series if that has any kind of supernatural, if there's a supernatural premise there, that the comic book has some kind of supernatural powers, so it's able to foretell the future. In real life, sometimes you deal with coincidences. Something can be in fiction, and it can be a coincidence, and then we can see it later on actually play out, but it's just a coincidence, right? And then other things, if you're a little bit more advanced, you've researched this a little bit more, you get, if you connect the dots more so, what you'll find is that a lot of the people that are at the top of the industry, entertainment industry and other industries as well too, may be privy to information that the rest of us are not ahead of time. So they can kind of put it in their art, and so that's how you get a Corona typewriter on the back of Madonna's Madam X album, which you can Google if you want. It's right there. It's not hidden or anything. It's right there before this year and all this stuff happened. So this is a very cool concept. You have basically a comic book that everybody wants to get their hands on because it can foreshadow, or it can tell you, if you are able to decipher the code in the comic, what is going to happen in the future. In real life. Okay, so that's basically the premise. So that's why the comic is so important, and it's called Utopia in this series. And basically, you have a couple people who I think they move into a place at the beginning of this episode or something like this, and they find this comic. They find Utopia, and it doesn't seem like they have much of an indication of what it is. Maybe they have some ideas for some kind of money, not sure. But basically, they post it to sell it. And a lot of the fans of Dystopia who want to get their hands on this come and they kind of bid on it, and they try to find the best bidder, and then they sell it to one guy, and then you have this kid kind of come in and kind of steal it. So it's sort of like this chase for this magical comic, let's say, or maybe I shouldn't use the word magical with a K, let's say, type of comic, which can foreshadow future events, and that's why it's so sought after. So you have people rabidly going after this thing, and even hurting each other to try to get it. So by the end of the first episode, we have a couple of what I would call intelligence agency guys go after it, RB and Rod. And so basically they come in, and I love the way RB is dressed, because he's got like this this polo, like a shirt. He's got like this really geeky hair thing going, and he just looks like somebody's creepy neighbor or something. he looks totally like inconspicuous, like he's just one of these types of guys. And sure enough, it turns out that as he's going after Utopia with Rod, they are it looks like they're intelligence agency type of guys who are basically hunting down, and they just start killing people left, right, and center. Anyone who's seen Utopia, anyone who might have it, to try to get it back for the people that have sent them out to get it, because it could foretell future events, and so it's if given to the wrong person who's not in the club, let's say, it could be very damning, or it could be very bad for the power elite. At least that's the impression I get from it after the first episode. We'll see. There could be twists and stuff like that later on. We'll have to see what that looks like. But basically, loved the first episode. Thought it was absolutely fantastic. Really great kind of starting point for it. very difficult to not watch the second episode after you watch the first one if you are a comic book fan, if you're a fan of conspiracies, and if you have any indication of what predictive programming actually is, if you've ever looked into it yourself. I don't think there's any kind of magical property to anything that we see in real life or anything like that. There's just basically a big club who gets information about what they're going to do ahead of time. And so if you're in the club, you get the info, and then you can, if you're a musician or something, or if you're a TV producer or something like this, you can use it for a storyline in your art, but you're just not allowed to tell people what is going to be done in actual real life. But they're allowed to kind of put it in their art to sort of communicate it in that way. And then by the time you get up to about the 5th episode or so, you do get into a full-on pandemic situation, very similar to what we're seeing this year in 2020. And you even have some characters that remind me quite a bit of certain people in real life that we're seeing this year, which does tell me, and just the premise of the book by itself, is that the lady who did this, the Gone Girl lady, Gillian Flynn, is very learned with regards to how these things work, it seems. And I don't know if I'll call her an illuminist, but it seems like she's very familiar with that. John Cusack plays Dr. Kevin Christie, who basically is like a Bill Gates character, pretty much. That's pretty much what he is, which is really fun. And then you have Becky, you have or Jessica Hyde, which is pretty cool. And also it is, you do have kind of some connections in it to like Lewis Carroll and Alice in Wonderland. Is a girl in this one named Alice, and then in Dystopia you have kind of the White Rabbit and follow the White Rabbit type of thing. So it kind of goes into some of the stuff that I don't even think we're allowed to talk about now because it's been banned off. So I love the first episode. The series is a bit shocking at times. It's a bit fast, like it's a bit kind of in your face and crazy. Maybe even sometimes you might have to watch it back twice to kind of catch everything. But it is really cool, and I'm going to give the premiere episode a solid 8 out of 10. I think it's a really good start to the series. It's just a little bit too frantic sometimes, but maybe I have to get used to that now because that's kind of the way streaming series are. They don't want you to leave. It's not exactly the same as an old school TV series where you have commercials or whatever. So it's like they want you to watch and they want you to keep watching so they don't waste a lot of time. But it's very cool. And by the end of the first episode, I think you'll be like, wow, this is intense. This is cool, man. When the two guys go through and start killing everybody, it's just... That's pretty crazy. But really fun stuff. I love the series. Thank you guys for recommending it to me, those of you guys who did. And definitely, if you're into conspiracies, if you're into predictive programming elements, then this might be something for you. And also, yeah, they get into viruses and stuff like that. Predictive programming, virus releases, different viruses, this kind of stuff, which is really crazy because it makes me think, when did they film this? Because if it released September 25th, they must have been filming it or starting at least a year ago or something. So, did they film this before COVID? If so, that's pretty wild. You'll understand once you watch it if you don't know what I mean now. Watch it, and you'll see what I'm saying. Like, did they make this before COVID? Like, because if so, that is nuts, man. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again soon for another review. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace, later, guys. See you soon.